much, man. Welcome back, guys. Episode 7 of the Modern Monks podcast is upon us. Don't know if you guys saw today, but I put up a post saying that 95% of all podcasts fail before episode 13. I thought we were killing it because we got to 7. Only halfway, just past halfway. But before we get started, a few thank yous. Obviously, AccuFit, second sponsor of the show, just behind Ghetto Movement. Without those two companies, the podcast doesn't exist. So thanks for them slipping us a couple of dollars for getting on the airways.
Yeah, AccuFit for throwing in a few more dollars than Ghetto, but that's neither here nor there, brother.
A couple of other special mentions, guys. We want to give Evergreen Landscaping a shout. Jolly's taken real good care of us on the move in here. We've got some awesome ideas for the garden out the back too that Joel's going to be getting in on. I highly suggest giving them a call if you've got any gardening, landscaping stuff that needs to be done at your place. They do everything. Another one is Jimmy's Burgers, our favourite burger joint in town, always keeping us satisfied. And Coco's Cafe, a new cafe at Ghetto Movement HQ. Their burgers are roasting too, their smoothie bowls, the bliss balls, you name it, they make it, and it's fucking tasty.
Yeah,
sorry for swearing so early, but it's good. But without further ado, guys, Ep 7. E, how have you been, my man?
I've been really good. I've noticed that this week's been a little rawer in terms of a few things coming into the new space. So now obviously we've settled in, the renovations have been done, the bulk of the heavy lifting's been done, and now it's like getting into the swing of things and kind of
sleeves are up, so to speak.
Yeah, literally up for this podcast there. And just feeling that kind of that rawness to it. I realise that when you do something hectic and something full on and you give that emotional output, sometimes you don't take care of yourself and you keep putting something off, and then when it's time to get back into it, you kind of feel a bit tired, a bit flat, and you got to kind of remotivate and get that eye on the prize again. Yeah,
it's so true. I've found the same thing, and it's almost like that old, you like resting on your morals or your laurels.
Laurels.
Yeah. Resting on your laurels. But it's so true. You get to a stage and it's like, oh yeah, I've done this thing. And then how often do you see like everything just slips away? And it's like, well, that wasn't too well planned. Yeah. But yeah, we're at that stage now where we're off the ground, business is open, people coming through the doors, and we've got to, give the product that's right for everyone to keep coming back.
And that we promised them.
And that we promised, make this place as special as we've made it out. And I think, we both have a vision and a goal to make this place, something so different to anywhere else, not just in the Illawarra, but in the world. We really want to stand out and make our presence felt in the, I wouldn't even say fitness industry, just in the wellness industry, because we want to attack everything that we're doing, to wrap into a holistic view of health, rather than just, you need to keep in shape or you need to keep your body, disease free. We want to be mentally aware, physically aware, spiritually aware.
Yeah.
So we've got some big mountains to start moving now.
And it's so funny too, because your direction, I'm finding that mine particularly, I don't know about yours per se, but like I find that mine coming to this new spaces, the direction has changed a lot as well. And certain things that were okay in the one space is not okay in the second space, and trying to navigate those waters of being like, I thought I knew 100% how clear my direction was, and now I have to tinker and tailor with it a little bit and kind of see what the new direction is, where I'm heading with it, and what it looks like moving forward, because it's just a little bit,
it's natural evolution, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, we were talking about the other day how like working with athletes would be something that we'd like to get into down the line. Obviously an athlete needs to be moving well, obviously an athlete needs to be feeling good to keep turning up, keep training hard and all the rest of it. But I feel like if we got together and we wound that up, it's something that we could really set up and have programming and everything set around, athletes being able to perform at their best week in, week out. And we don't say at their best lightly either, as an ex-athlete, you always used to say, oh yeah, I'm running at 70% and that's a good week.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not enough. You know, you want your body to be performing at its best, and why shouldn't it be? If you're doing all the right things, there's no reason that your body shouldn't be able to bounce back, recover.
I get attacked by one of their landscaping fucking bugs.
That reminded me of episode 2, the bug in the mouth. But it's something that, you know, we feel super passionate about, that, you know, you should be able to be at that level and for your body to handle it, you know, in any capacity thrown towards it.
But that's that athlete mentality. Like, I always thought, and I think I've been kind of marinating on it for the last couple of days, particularly of this week, start of this week, where it was like we had the elite crew come through on Sunday, and everyone was going through their paces and their assessments, and it was less about athletes in general, like treating like the top of the top, but more that mentality of person that wants that athlete mindset, which is a mindset where the basic day-to-day grind is not enough. You want to set platforms and procedures and systems in place that you can then go from this point to another point, and not just do that 8-week transformation, then it ends, and then 6 months later you're like, oh shit, summer's coming around again, or whatever it is, and you're like, I'm going to get back into the swing of things and do another 8-week or 12-week transformation. But that continuous cycle of progression and moving forward, so it doesn't just go and end, it keeps going.
Yeah, sustainability. Like, at the end of the day, that's what the fitness industry and the wellness industry lack, is sustainability. And that comes down to setting good goals, not just like, oh yeah, I want to be able to do this. And then someone builds you a program around getting this unattainable goal, and you leave disappointed, unmotivated, you don't want to come back. Or you set them too low, and you know, you hammer it so hard through your challenge period that you're like, oh, that was too easy and it wasn't worth it. I don't want to go back. You need something that keeps you motivated and focused week in, week out, and you need to be slowly moving towards those things. Like, anything that you can achieve in 12 weeks, you're not going to sustain. You're not going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
You need something more long-term, and you need to realign yourself every so often, so you know where you're headed and you know where you're focused, because your body's natural evolution will take shape, and you'll find that, you know, you'll make gains in other areas, like we call them indirect gains. So you start training one thing and you're moving towards your goal, and all of a sudden you're doing these things that, you know, you had, you know, down on your goals list, but it's like, oh shit. But it's because you've been focused, you've been connected with what you're doing, and you're turning up week in and week out, and you're getting the things done.
Yeah.
I think you're exactly right in saying that it's more the athlete mentality that people lack. And if you start treating yourself with more respect as to how you train and how hard you put in, and the hours that you dedicate to your physical and mental and spiritual body, then everyone is an athlete to a certain extent. You know, you may not get paid the big bucks for it, but you're still putting in the time physically, you're still showing up, you know, you're burning energy, you're burning calories, you're getting better at what you're doing, getting stronger. If you're not taking the same steps that a professional athlete would, then, you know, eventually you're going to set yourself up for injury, or, you know, you're going to do something that's not fantastic and you go, oh, well, I tried. But if you are looking after yourself and you're beating injuries, you're beating illness, and you're doing these things and you can still show up, you're on the money.
Yeah.
You're going to be more excited to go and train. You're going to be more excited to do stuff physically, more likely to go out on the weekend or, you know, of an afternoon and do something, rather than, you know, being in a slump and not happy with life.
Yeah. What do you think that shortfall is then? Like, what do you think because it's a singular thing that you witness, and I even see it for myself. And when it comes to like the physicality of stuff, like I've dropped the ball over the last 4 years consciously, in a sense that I've made other choices and I've gone, I'm not going to prioritize this at the expense of the shit that I get from my friends on a daily basis. You know what I mean?
Let me clarify. Eamon's talking to me directly here. He's not talking about any of his other friends. He's talking to me directly.
Yeah. Some of your friends, no matter how close and how much they have your back, will give you shit about this kind
Some
of stuff.
of he's talking to me.
But I've like made that choice, and then I go, when we built this space, one of the biggest motivators for me was that I wanted to outsource that completely. So I go, I don't have a choice but to be reminded of that every time I go to work, every time I go into that environment where I spend the majority of time, I'm going to have someone who's like,
Just say me.
Will's like, you're looking a little chunky.
Oh, never.
You sass me daily.
I would never say that.
We had our body assessments done, DEXA scans.
Yeah, actually, I got zinged hard on this one.
Yeah.
So my scan came back like, all right, I've been training really hard. My numbers were good. And we got measured. And I swear to God, I used to be 178 centimeters tall. And I came in at 176. I was so shattered. And Eamon got up there. And he was 4 millimeters. Not even half a centimeter taller than me. And
they say that. It was 0.4. It looked, as a number, it looked clean.
Quicker than I could say anything about his body fat that was going to be higher or he was going to be heavier or, anything. Quicker than that, he looks at me and goes, I can always get leaner. I can build more muscle mass. You can't grow taller. It just floored me.
Yeah. That was one of my better moments.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't like it.
But it was good. Like that assessment was good. I mean, that was an opportunity for us to have like a real honest, like I don't know 100% legitimacy of the scan. I haven't done enough research into that stuff, but it was an assessment that you could measure something against at some point.
Yes, exactly. And that's the perfect way to put it, is that you're measuring it against a scan that you're going to get in the future.
Yeah. And
an assessment by the physio that you're going to get in the future. Because as we were going through it, it was like, oh, what are these numbers actually compared to? And it goes against a general pop standardization.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh, so I fall in here on that. And like, I quickly pressed pause on the whole conversation because every single human body type is different. So why would we compare ourselves to the standard general pop? It's like, nah, brush that mentality straight away, guys. This is ground zero for our moving forward. And the elite crew that we've got are fantastic. We've got 15 guys that have joined up to a group that want to be kept accountable, that want to be training hard, and they want to be looking after their body, both nutritionally, medically, physically with their training, and then spiritually with meditation and mindfulness practices. So these guys have asked and jumped on board to be kept more accountable. And the first thing that I think everyone needs to realize is that these scans are not to be compared between you and I, and they're not to be compared between anyone else in the group. Like, as much as we razz each other,
yeah.
Did you leave your phone on loud too? Jesus, you're having a shocker. As much as like we razz each other, and I can't emphasize enough that if you do get these things done, it's not meant to be taken and compared to other people. This is just your point of reference to come back to. So you keep moving forward, you can come back and go, oh, I was leaner then. Okay, well, what was the training that I was doing then? All right, I'm going to jump back into that and see if I can, get back to that stage. And then from there, it's just simple checking in with yourself over a certain time period. Oh, that's a nice photo of me. What year was that? Oh, sweet, September 2018. Awesome, that was my first phase of the elite program. Let's see what I was doing.
Yeah.
And you can check back in. You can aim to get back to that same space. But the point is, you've got tools to do it. Whereas if you're going, oh shit, Will's half my body fat percentage and, this and all of these numbers, it's like, it's not right.
Yeah.
Because you're comparing apples and oranges. But everyone does it. Stupidly, everyone does it. And I'm not sorry for saying that, because it is the most stupid thing you can do. It's like it's the old bloody saying, it's like watching judging a fish on its ability to climb a tree. It's just, you shouldn't do it. Like, you're setting yourself up for failure, because someone's metabolic rate might be high. They might burn fat quicker. They might have great genetics where, they can eat what the fuck they want.
Yeah.
But here's bloody Joe Blow in the corner, like banging his head against the wall because he doesn't have the same six-pack that someone else does. Cut that shit out. That's your document.
Well, that's the thing, is like, I was a bit, not resistant to it, but I was just like, oh, I don't really need to know. And then I was like, when we came on the day, I was like, oh, that's really, really interesting. And then I realized when I was doing it, and even like results or whatever aside, I was like, you don't know what you don't know. And you can't measure against what you don't know, or
Can't
what you
manage
think
what
you
you
can
don't measure.
Yeah. And ultimately, at some point, it's like anything. When you've got so many things going on, and you've got so many distractions and so many things that you're busying yourself with, it's so hard to get clarity. And infinitely, it's easier just to simplify everything and go, okay, here's a measurable result, whether or not I subscribe to it or not, but this is a measurable result that I can now track whatever this next immediate period of my life is. So I know that if I'm in this program for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, I can measure this against it, and I can make sure that I'm accumulating data, and I can go, okay, I've actually moved forward, and not because I think I've moved forward, or like try and recall what you had for lunch 3 days ago.
Do you want me to actually recall?
Like, do you know what you had for lunch 3 days?
A burger, chicken peri peri burger actually, from Charcoal Chicken in Wollongong.
All right, a month ago.
Might have been in Bali. Probably some kind of pad thai.
I love how you just affected my point. It's hard to recall that stuff if it's not really important to you.
And not even that, it's hard to recall it if you haven't got it in front of you, if you haven't written it down.
Yeah. And that's most of the things that happen in your life. No matter how important it seems to you at the time, oftentimes you won't remember it. I mean, my partner always reminds me of stuff that I don't remember all the time because I haven't written it down and made a fucking note on it and signed it off.
I didn't tell you about the win I had this week too. Sidebar, guys. So Emma and I have had a problem lately with me not doing stuff that I'm supposed to be doing because she tells me to do it and I forget. We now have a note system. Emma writes me a list. I've got a week to do all these things. You know how much I love a list. This is the best thing ever. So I just go home, cross a few things off. I'm like, bam, that's my Tuesday done. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And then I just work so well on that list. Sorry.
No, that's a good point because you've got measurables now. You
I've
can
got measurables because I know what I've got to do and it's there in front of me every day.
Yeah. And then every day she can put like a little gold star next to
your
name.
If we get a star system going at home, I'm dominating it. The kid will never stand a chance.
I should put one of those up for you at my house, bro.
Come around and
start repairing shit.
All I need is a little gold star on a collar. Reward system, it works well.
Yeah. But that's what we're talking about with the measuring results and stuff that you can track. I think that when we did that exercise on the day, it was something that was like, okay, you learn a little bit about yourself and now you can track something moving forward. And I think it's like, it directly correlates into life and other aspects as well, because I think ultimately, people come into the clinic all the time and I go, how'd you go last week? Did you write anything down and track how you were feeling day to day? No, but I think I feel a little bit better, or I think I feel this, or I'm not really sure. Actually, you know what, I can't really remember.
Yeah.
And you're like, how you can't build data around that. We can't move forward if we have no idea and we're just kind of making it up day to day. Because your headspace might be completely different. Like you might have the worst day, the shittest day, and you're going to frame it in a negative light. You're going to be like, oh, I can't remember, it was probably shit the last week. But if you had a positive day, you'd be like, actually, it's been pretty good. That's the difference in like a moment. And that might happen in the car park before you walked in. So if you're not basing your life on things that you can measure and you can track and that are ultimately like really simplified, then I feel like you're just playing a game that you're ultimately losing, because you'll be in the same place you were now in 6 months' time, 6 weeks' time, or whatever.
So true. But everyone does it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just going to keep doing the same thing and hope for a different result.
Yeah.
You know, not gonna measure how I'm feeling. I'm not gonna check in with what I'm doing. I'm not gonna document any of the things that I'm moving forward on. But then I'm just gonna take an assumption and guess that, 6 weeks down the track, or 6 months down the track, or 6 years down the track, I'm doing better.
Yeah.
My dad has this thing, and he said if you're having 6 out of the 10 good days, like, you're winning. And that can be with a partner, that can be with a job, in life in general, it can be spread across the board. And so he always talks about how he talks to people, he goes away on holidays, my old man can talk the legs off a chair, like he's just, if anyone listening knows my dad, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so he'll go and make some friends and he has a chat to them, and like he's just one of those guys that people seem to open up to naturally. Yeah. So people start dumping their problems on him and he gets all philosophical without knowing it. Grew up in the country, he doesn't know that he's actually like borderline Buddhist monk. It's the greatest. And he'll just be like, well, look, for the next month, I want you to go home and on the good days, green circle, bad days, red cross. He goes, at the end of the month, tally them up, take your average. If it's 6 out of 10 good days, you're killing it. Life's good.
Yeah.
And he goes, if it's not, you need to make some changes. And that's his thing.
That's pretty good.
Do you want to know why it's 6 out of 10? So if you look at any number one tennis player that's ever come into number one, their serving percentage, their first serve percentage is never better than 62%. And so he said, if the best in the world at tennis can't get more than 6 out of 10 first serves in, why should we be any different? Why do we hold ourselves to this perfect 10 mentality when the best tennis players in the world, that all they do is bang first serve after first serve every day? If they're missing it in game time, you're allowed to miss a couple of days.
Fuck, that's hilarious. I
Isn't
didn't know Mick was such a tennis fan.
Classic. We used to have a tennis court in the backyard, bro.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I think they've got something similar with like free throws, and like Michael Jordan, like LeBron.
Yeah.
They can't throw to save themselves, which is probably why I have trouble with the board a lot of time myself. Yeah, but yeah, I thought the weekend was very fascinating, and it actually kind of translated a little insight into the day, and having kind of markables and measurables for myself within my business that I don't always consciously track, like how many people have come through the door, how much revenue, whatever it is, like, what's client overall satisfaction. And I think that ultimately I was thinking about it today, and I had one client come in who was like, nah, I don't know if I'm feeling it. And that was like right at the start of the day, and I was like, oh shit.
It's going to be a
long day, and I know if I'm finishing it, it's 10:45 and I finish at 7:30, that if it doesn't pick up, and if I get some more negative things, I'm going to go on that little fragile trajectory.
Your cup starts to empty, man.
Yeah. And I was thinking, like, how can my whole day be dictated by somebody else's response, somebody else's actions?
Well, it's because we're in the energy transaction business. You know, like I can come into a class and be completely exhausted, but the energy of the room lifts me up to another level. You know, so the other people are lifting me. On the other hand, I can be happy as Larry, and if their energy drags me down, that's what happens. Same thing. So it comes down to, like, it's not in your control, but what you can control is then like what you're measuring it against. So instead of that comment being like, oh look, you know, didn't really do it for me today, man, pins are in the wrong place, you can go, okay, well, let's rewire that to be a little bit of constructive feedback. You go check out your meridian chart and you go, all right, well, what did I miss here? And you turn it into a little bit of a productive mishap, rather than like, oh shit, you know, maybe I'm losing my touch. Did I check his pulse right? You know, was I even on the right side of the body?
It's the wrong person, yeah.
Yeah, wrong person, shit.
That's not going to
I
help.
thought that was George, it was Steve.
Yeah.
But you know,
Yeah, I feel
but
you.
but then checking back in on the next time, so you can hone in a little deeper, and you record that yourself. You go, okay, Stevie had a bad experience. Let's dial it back and make sure his next one is going to be that level up. Or make sure the next person that comes in, you take that little bit of extra care. You know, communicate a little better, connect a little better. And it's all of a sudden it's, you know, you don't have a choice. But for Rosa, who comes in next, bam, Rosie's coming out and she's like, E, you're the man.
Yeah.
You're on point today. Little does she know, it's only because you mucked up on Stevie.
Yeah, that's so true. It's funny though when you think about it and assess it, how quickly, like, I recognized in the moment when I was like already kind of destabilized a little bit, and I was like, I'm not the fucking best at what I do, and suddenly I was like, you know, I had to hold myself up on the desk, you feel me? And
You feel me?
and I was like, how can I still, even though you're consciously aware of something, how can you still follow that train or follow those tracks down a path that you're like,
And the mind is a fragile thing.
yeah,
The ego is even more fragile. It's so fragile.
sanity.
It's so funny that the littlest things can derail you too.
Yeah.
You know, and it happens to everyone. Like, no one I know is a strong enough person that, like, there's not a little flicker of doubt when something happens and they're like,
Yeah.
what? Why'd you say that? Is my hair really not that nice? Or like, you don't like the shirt I'm wearing? Like, whoa, I'm not the best at that?
Yeah.
Everyone's fragile, man. It's just, everyone's, but, I mean, I could go off on another tangent here, but it's like, nowadays, everyone, you know, is so quick to defend themselves that they're not even really listening to what's being said in the first place. And it's like, you know, obviously you've got a good mindfulness practice under your belt and you're aware of how you feel and you're in tune with, you know, why certain things pop up. Person on the other foot would be like, well, that's actually your fault because you're not in a good place before you come in. So maybe you should think about changing something.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, hang on a minute.
Oh,
The customer's always right. Why are you coming down on me like that? But I mean, it comes down to that in this day and age. Like, do a little road test and, like, don't be shocked if you get punched in the face. But, you know, go and say something to someone and make it their fault. And I guarantee you, They won't even think about it. They will throw it straight back on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
They will not even think twice about what you're even talking about. And they will tell you it's your fault. No one reflects on anything. They're just like, nah, it can't be my fault. Why would it be my fault? It's your fault. You did it.
Yeah, it's so reactive, hey?
So reactive.
Do you think maybe like, you know how it's like where people always start to say, oh, you know, it's so hard to meditate, it's so hard to do that. Do you reckon it's more, it's so hard to kind of be quiet and be by yourself and let your own self-judgment, or let that kind of pendulum swing back and hit you, or that mirror kind of go, oh, hey champ, we're not really happy with fucking your work ethic today. And you're like, oh, I don't have anyone else to blame now. You know what I mean? I don't have anyone else to be like, oh, the bin hasn't been taken out, or whatever it is.
Man, you've opened up Pandora's box on that one, I reckon. Because it's you know, and people say, yeah, it's hard. Oh, I think about the grocery list, I think about this. But then, is it that you're thinking about the grocery list, or is it because you're getting upset at yourself for thinking about the grocery list? You know, that's self-reflection. When the pendulum swings back, and it's like, you can do better.
Yeah.
If you say it to me, I can be reactive and go, nah, you can do better.
Yeah.
I'm fine over here. But when you say it to yourself and you get in that situation, it's quiet. It's like, well, can you? And without sounding like, you know, we're telling people that they need to do better or meditate more and do meditation better, I think it's very important that everyone does check in with themselves like that. Because if ultimately what you get from everyone else, so if you find, you know, you're bumping into a lot of people and they're showing a little bit of hostility, generally that's a good indicator that you are being hostile towards others. You know, you need to check yourself, figure out why it is you're showing this hostility, because what you put out is what you get back in. And I don't care if you don't believe it, I'm telling you. If you document that and you go around and smile to 20 people in a day, you're going to get more smiles than you got the day before, because you're giving out that positive feedback and you're going to get it back in. But I don't think people are in tune enough with, you know, that mindset towards their mind, body and spirit, that they give themselves the luxury of thinking that they can control what's going on around them. You know, like that they can attract the right things in if they just focus on it. And, you know, I'm not talking about 5 minutes of, you know, repeating a mantra. I'm talking about day in, day out, being focused on what it is that you want in your life, the abundance that you want, and you will get it. You know, opportunities will present themselves. Obviously, $1 million lottery ticket is not going to roll up on your front step. All right? You have to actually still take action. You still have to get up and go to work. You have to hustle. You have to grind. But if you ask and you focus on what it is that you want, anything in the world, opportunities will present themselves to make that happen.
So true. Also, there's that messed up lottery ticket winning thing where there's something in the States where something like 3 out of 5 people who won the lottery ended up dead in the next 10 years or something like that.
Well, they all
broken families.
Yeah,
all that
they all
kind of
get
shit.
they all get rich quick, and then it's a shit life anyway.
Yeah.
Bloody, and it keeps popping up, and it popped up in the Aubrey Marcus, Jay Shetty podcast. And Jim Carrey, it's Jim Carrey's quote. He's like, I wish everyone could be rich and famous and get everything that they ever wanted, so they can realize that it is nothing that they want.
Yeah.
It's the complete opposite to the life they want.
Yeah.
But everyone's too focused on diamonds and gold and popping bottles and all the rest of it, that they don't realize that it's an absolute like gift to be able to walk down the street and no one know who you are.
Were we talking about in that last episode with Cristiano Ronaldo? Was that?
No, I think we were just talking about that in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and Cristiano Ronaldo goes to walk, while the World Cup was on, goes to walk into a shop to buy something, and he's literally got to have security guards holding people back, and like they're just touching him. You know, these people don't have ill intentions. They just love the guy, but they have to touch him and be in his face, and like, I touch Cristiano, he's got cameras in his face. Can you imagine?
No.
Like how many people you'd want to karate chop?
Yeah.
But you've just got to cop it on the chin because one wrong move in front of, you know, 7 billion people, and you're the biggest asshole that ever lived.
Yeah.
No one's going to let you live that down. every single person in the world could sympathize with being annoyed like that all day, every day. But no one's going to have his back.
Yeah.
Everyone turn on him quicker than anything, especially Australians. We love nothing more than tearing people back down.
Especially an athlete.
Yeah, especially an athlete that did better in the World Cup than us.
Yeah.
Man, it's a reactive world that we live in, and we always want to be knowing that we're doing better than someone else, and that, you know, what we do matters, and if it doesn't, then we want to make sure people know that we think it matters. It's like, just be.
Well, I found that it was really interesting as well when they're talking about that ego construct of that competitive nature that we all have. Your success ultimately undermines my success because we're both competing for the same thing. Not really, but like we just think that we are. It's either success, fame, money. If you have the money, I don't have the money. If you have the success, somehow I haven't gotten success. I think it's so fascinating, the idea that your ego is always going to react like that because we compare ourselves to each other naturally, either in a primal sense, in a tribal sense, just observing it, right? You're always going to compare yourself against someone who's got a better body, someone who's more handsome, someone who's smarter, someone
Who's got better head of hair.
Yeah. And
I'm not talking about me, one shit too.
Me, yeah, sure. And what was I going with it? And the challenge is the responsiveness time in which either your ego gets fed or your ego seeks out in other people. So as in either you praise me or everyone's praising you and I get jealous of that. That time delay in which you can shorten the amount of time where you can come back to yourself and be like, oh wait, what am I doing, man? I should be happy for him. Or I should be happy that someone said something kind to me. As opposed to that length of time where I mull over it for a day. Or I mull over it for a week. Or suddenly it consumes my life. And suddenly I'm talking about it every Christmas that my sister is more successful than I am. Or whatever it is that you shorten that time between that recognition that it affects you and use that as fuel and motivation to achieve something for yourself or achieve something that you think will serve you and satisfy you, and shorten that time in which you're corrupted by that egoic, all-consuming fucking stress that it just takes over from everything.
It's a similar mindset to like you are the sum of the 5 people that you hang around with most. It's like, if you answer yourself real honest right now, you say, would you rather be the weakest person out of those 5, or would you rather be the strongest person out of those 5? You know, like in any aspect, business-wise, socially, whatever, best looking, best head of hair.
Yeah.
You know, what would you rather be? Instantly you go, you want to be the top dog, right? Everyone wants to be the top dog.
Yeah.
But that's not the place to be. Because if you're the guy that's hanging out with 4 other successful people in whatever field you choose, then you have the most to gain.
Mm.
You know, you have the most to build on. You have the most experience to draw on. You have the most leverage that you can pull.
Yeah.
And you have the most growth to attain. So you're using the energy of the people around you tactically. You know, you don't want to... You should steer away from ever being, you know, that guy or that girl or the person that's always, you know, doing the best. Because it's the people around them that are actually doing the best. You know, they're improving their lives dramatically. It's just that the person that's at the top's got the spotlight on them. You don't want that because they get the attention and have to deal with all the extra things that come with it.
Yeah.
You're better off being that person that is close with those other 4 people that are all doing super well, and you're just trailing off the edge. And, you know, you pick up bits and pieces from everyone, and you're learning on the run, and you just... every day it's like, bam, hitting that, damn, hitting that. And it's just constantly building and building and building. And it's, you know, but it's not in, you know, our egoic mind that we ever want to be in that situation. We always want to be up top straight away.
Yeah.
You know, but enjoy the hustle, enjoy the grind, enjoy, you know, learning from the best in the biz.
I think it's probably the best thing about, like, look at someone like Gary Vee, who's very different. Like, I don't want to operate like that. I don't ever want to be in a position where I'm working 20 hours and I'm like trying to find more periods of time in my life where I can shorten my dinner time so I can then, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want that kind of lifestyle. I never wanted that. Even if it's at the at the risk of not being the multi-billionaire and having all that influence. It's just not something that's ever satisfied me, that mentality. But there's something that he always seems to stress consistently, that everyone who always asks very similar questions around how do I combat this, or how do I get what I want, or how do I enjoy the pleasures and not compromise everything, is that you have to respect and you have to want to be more a part of the process and the journey than the outcome, because ultimately the outcome is the end, and that's the end point of your life. So if you want everything to get to that point, it's all over. There's no more time. There's no more learning. There's nothing. It's the end. You got the outcome. You're successful. You're 85. You're on your way out.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait for it to be all over and I'll be rich in 85. Like, doesn't make sense. You either need to understand that the process is going to happen regardless, and you can expedite it in certain ways by doing that self-awareness technique, doing stuff that serves you, surrounding yourselves with the right people, or you can wish and will your life away, ultimately for the outcome that may or may not satiate you. I agree 100%. Jim Carrey might be like, rich and famous didn't serve him and he wishes that happened to everybody, but maybe it does serve people. Maybe that outcome is for them. But ultimately, it doesn't matter what that is, because the outcome will be the end. And it'll be all over at that point.
Yeah, and no one wants to reach that point.
No. More than anything, I would rather be where I am, failing on a daily basis,
Enjoying the process, enjoying the learning. Yeah.
Struggling
That's
and
so
hustling.
true. It's so true.
Then get to that outcome and being like, if someone goes, here's the keys to facility and everything that you ever wanted, obviously one hand would go up and the other hand would be like,
Yes,
what are you doing, bro? It's there. It's within reach.
But I mean, but then there's no, and it's so true. Like, and speaking firsthand from this place, like, it was such a process to get the doors open. It was such a process, and it was so stressful, and so much sleep was lost, and so many fights were had, but god damn, I appreciate this joint now, and it's got such a good energy inside it.
Yeah.
And it's like, without that hard work, without the process, like, it doesn't mean anything. But I mean, then without what comes next, all that stuff means nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like we said at the start of the thing, you know, you can get complacent when you hit that little checkpoint and you go, okay, yeah, I'm content. And it's like, just like you said, then it's like, okay, well, if that's it, then that's the end point. You know, that's where it all falls apart. And, you know, the end point may not be death, but the end point is essentially going to be the collapse of everything that you just built.
Yeah.
Because you can't rest there.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Heavy, huh?
I think that's why sometimes I look around this space, I'm like, we've achieved so much and all these things are happening, and it's only 4 walls, but the energy in the space feels good. And I don't think it feels good because of any other reason than you set the intention. Like, when I do the treatment space and I kit everything out, I don't design it for myself. I design it to facilitate people having the best, most relaxing time that they could have, right? Like, you set this space not to satisfy yourself financially, but to build a space in which people can reach their best selves. Do you know what I mean? Mm. So you're facilitating a process, an idea, much more than you're facilitating an outcome of anything else. You know what I mean? Like, you're just setting a space with the best intention. That's why it feels good. That's why it feels enough ultimately now, and it may be too small in the future because everything grows and expands, you know, until it contracts, obviously. But it's going to keep growing and growing and growing, and that's the only reason why you shift. But because the intention itself is going to always be solid, it's always going to feel right. And I think that, I don't know, I wish more people kind of had that perspective, or looked at their life and go, what's that intention for me? Like, what am I trying to set? Not what the outcome is, not what the job looks like, not even that what you're building your life for, whether it's family, friends, other people. Like, what's your intention? Like, if you could do like an elevator pitch or mission statement or something that will be a summation of what you want, or what you want your legacy to be, that's who you are intrinsically. Like, you want people to reach their best selves. That's admirable. That's going to go longer than your name will go, than you will go. You know, I mean, that's what I want for myself. I want to build a space in which people can, that I don't have to be there for people to reach their best selves. It's completely void of me. I think it's infinitely easier to turn up to work if that's your mentality, as opposed to it needs to make X amount of dollars.
Well, and that's the thing. I was only having this chat today with a friend, and as soon as you start thinking, you know, more money, like, you don't get that, you know, because people can smell that you're in it for the wrong reasons. And I think the reason this community is what it is because everyone that comes through the doors knows that, you know, everyone involved is going to do everything they can to help them get to where they need to be. They're going to answer questions. They're going to help with progressions. They're going to help with regressions. You know, every single message that comes in after my bedtime, I respond first thing in the morning, you know, at 4:35 in the morning, you know, because I want them to know that support's there. And, you know, it's a part of the way I feel personally about it all. And I think that's authentic, you know, because I reach out. I want them to know that it's always there, that support's always there. And I just think that maybe people get too caught up in the rat race that they lose what got them started in the first place. And they lose sight of what you were just talking about. They lose sight of that, you know, fulfillment that you get from helping person to person, and, you know, like giving them the tools that they don't need to be here and train. They don't need to come to class because we've given the information that they need to be able to do it themselves. But they come back because of the love, because of the friendliness and the relationships that get built. And like, I think that's, you know, where Ghetto's strength lies, and where my strength as a facilitator lies, is that building connection between people. You know, yeah, it's a kick-ass space. You can do some awesome tricks if you train hard enough. But essentially, the thing that makes this place what it is, you know, the people that come in and the love that fills the room. And I think if I ever got away from that, then the business would collapse.
Yeah.
You know, rain, hail or shine, this is the place to come to, like, have a good time and move your body the best. And, you know, it's if it becomes too much of a financial strain, then, you know, we downsize. But I think if you ever hang on to, like, trying to earn more money than, you know, what you should be trying to earn on something, then you're just going to suffocate whatever it is that you're holding on to.
Yeah. I think when you do fleeting things like money, success, whatever it is, as opposed to the belief, like, how can I be best of service today for everyone, for myself, for the group? Like, it's infinitely easier to make the right choice and move in the direction that you want. Like, everyone that you train, everyone that I treat, everyone that the coffee shop feeds, that give coffee to, drinks, whatever, it's like you're acting in the best service that you know how. It's only going to reap positive intention. So it's less about the title of PT, coach, acupuncturist, barista, whatever.
It comes back to what we were talking about before, that energetic exchange. You're always going to get back what you give. And sure, there's probably times when you feel like you've been being awesome and doing really nice stuff for a lot of people, and you get kicked in the shins and everything falls apart. It's just a life lesson. It's prepping you for what's ahead. The good stuff's about to come. The growth is about to happen. Right? It happens to everyone. Don't feel special.
Yeah.
You know, everyone gets the same 24 hours. Everyone gets the same hard knocks. You know, and you never know what someone else is going through. So you shouldn't always think that people have got it easy. But if you do the right things, you act the right way, and you have the right intention, then I think it's only a matter of time until what it is that you're giving out comes back to you.
Or even if it doesn't, what's the alternative?
Yeah, exactly. You don't have another choice.
You can be a piece of shit. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and you don't want to do that. Like, you know, no one wants to be a piece of shit. It's good, man. It's a nice chat tonight.
Episode 7.
I feel like we're getting better at the communication side of being on the podcast too.
Yeah, halfway through until
Yeah. Before we finish up tonight, guys, I only just decided I'm pulling the trigger on this now. So it's news to easy ears too. But we've been talking about setting up a bit of a men's health session. The community itself here has been affected by some strong mental health issues of late, suicides, heavy depression, and people just not being in good places to be able to do their day to day. And we really want to offer at least somewhere that people can come, have a chat, feel safe, even if it's just come, sit in on a guided meditation with Ian, myself. If you want to share your experience after, if you don't, it's fine. But just know that there's a place here and there's people that you can come and talk to, come and hang out with. We've got a basketball hoop that's going back up soon. We've got a ping pong table. You can just come and chill out and, do whatever. But yeah, we're going to sort out some food and some catering for it. Friday the 14th of September. Hope you don't have anything on. If you do, clear schedule. Friday the 14th of September. So after our regular handstands and hamburgers class, which everyone is welcome to come to on that date, we are going to just sit, chill, kick it. We'll have some food together. He's going to run a guided meditation just to connect the room. And then afterwards, we can talk about the things that come up. We can talk about what's going on in each other's lives. You can sit and listen. We can shoot some hoops, chill out. But we just want a safe place for everyone to hang out. And if you are going through some shit, come and, listen to some other people. Their experiences may help you navigate through your experience. You may pick up some tools that can help you navigate your experience. Whatever it is, it's a positive thing to take out of it. We want to do our bit to help our local community because it's too much and it's becoming too regular, and too many people losing sons, too many people losing daughters, dads, mums, whatever it is. And I think ultimately what we want to do is help people navigate their own lives in a way that they're in control, and we feel like that we've got a platform that we can do this. So even if you're just into some meditation or whatever it is and you want to come check it out, come 14th of September, 6:30 p.m. At Ghetto Movement HQ. It's free of charge. We'll see if we can get some food here. That might cost you $10, but the meditation and our service, completely sweet. I think it's what we can do.
Absolutely. Just come and hang out, even if none of that applies to you,
You feel?
You feel me?
Yeah. But yeah, can't stress it enough, guys. The more people we get here, the better we can make our reach, and the more people we can help.
Yeah.
Spread it far and wide. Share the shit out of this little clip.
Beautiful.
All right. Wrapping up, Ep 7.
Ep 7 done and dusted.
Man, it's good. Stuff, baby. That's good.